Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be sewing the Summer Nights romper and set. Now this romper has so many options that we actually have two different videos for it. One video's got the separate version with the flounce sleeve and the flounce top and the bishop sleeves and the banded waist. And then this option actually is the romper option, which will have pockets, will have the cord, and will have no flounce on the top and just regular sleeves. So we're gonna go ahead and do it together. Now, if there's something that you're doing that is not on this video, go check our other video out and you'll see that you can just switch back and forth, and all the different options will be talked about in either one of the videos. But before I get started, let me remind you about our Fun Fan giveaway of $50 Ellie and my gift certificate, and we do that monthly. And all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and comment below, and you will be entered for our giveaway. So, all right, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is, I already cut out my pattern pieces, and I'm ready to go. We're gonna grab our one of our bodice pieces. They are the same front and back, so it really does not matter which one you grab. And I'm gonna put it face up on my board, as you can see. I'm gonna grab one of my sleeves, and right here where the arm side is, we're gonna put that right next to my top bodice. And you can see that they just match the raw edges together. You're just matching those raw edges together right there. And pin. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with my other sleeve. Right sides together, match the raw edges. Right sides together. Match those raw edges. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and sew those. I'm going to be using my serger to sew those on, but you can either use your serger or you can use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, any kind of stretch stitch that you work with best, that will work with the fabric that you have. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew those, and then we'll move on. All right, once those sleeves are sewn on to one side of the bodice, I always like to go ahead and steam because I feel like it gives it a better look. So I just steam my seams all going the right way. And then I'm gonna grab my other bodice piece and I'm gonna put it right side up on my board again. And I'm gonna grab my bodice front and put it like right sides together like so. And I'm gonna grab the sleeve and the other side of the sleeve where the arm side is, we're gonna go to match that together with your other side. So right sides together. Right sides together. Again, so if you were to open it up like so, you would see that the right sides of the bodice are touching and the sleeve right sides are touching right here at the raw edges, and pin. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew those as well. All right, now once both sleeves are on, as you can see, now we're gonna match up those raw edges and we're gonna sew the sides. Okay, so we're matching up the raw edges of the side. We're gonna match up that seam where the armpit is, and we're gonna go up the sleeve, and then we're gonna go down the side of the bodice. And we're gonna do the same on the other side. So we're gonna do this on both sides of the bodice. One side. My fabric is double brush poly, is what I'm using, and it likes to stick together sometimes. So I have to kind of, you know, if it sticks together at the wrong place, I gotta move it, tell it to move out of the way. Okay, so now the other side. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sew those raw edges. All right, so once we've sewn our top together, we're gonna go ahead, and if you're doing this option sleeve, I am doing the, where are my scissors? Oh, here they are. I am doing the short sleeve option. If you're doing just a simple sleeve option on your romper, you are going to hem now. If you're doing your bishop sleeve, it's a little bit different. So you will have, I go through all the steps on the other video, but it's, you know, you can go ahead and check that one out. But I'm gonna go ahead and fold a 1/2 inch allowance on my sleeve and steam. And then go ahead and sew that hem on my sleeve all the way around. And we're gonna do it for both sleeves. And then we're gonna go ahead and talk about our neckline. So I'm gonna go ahead and hem those sleeves first. So my sleeves have been hemmed, and since I'm only doing I'm not doing the flounce, I'm just doing the plain version of the neckline. I'm just moving on to going ahead and I'm folding my neckline down 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna measure with my little handy dandy ruler, and I'm doing 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going all the way around. And I'm gonna pin a 3/4 of an inch casing. So we're going all the way around to make that casing because that's where our elastic is gonna fit in. I'm just going around, go around the sleeve, around the whole thing, and you can go ahead and measure as many times as you want, because sometimes I tend to go a little bit farther down than 3/4 of an inch. I'm really good at 1/2 inch. 3/4 of an inch I'm good at, but sometimes I think I tend to go more towards a whole inch than 3/4 of an inch. So I want to make sure. Now I would rather go a little bit down, like a little bit farther. So I would rather go more towards the inch mark than the 1/2 inch mark, because our elastic is 1/2 inch elastic. So you want to give it enough room so that it can fit through there. You don't want to try to fit that elastic in and then you don't have enough room to fit it because you made the casing too small. When we're sewing the casing closed, you can use either a zigzag stitch or your cover stitch on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around. If I'm using a zigzag stitch, I'm going to go on a zigzag stitch all the way around, zigzagging at the edge to create that casing. Then you're going to leave a 1 to 2 inch gap, and that's where we're going to fit our elastic through to go all the way around. So I'm going to continue to fold this, and then I'm going to be using my cover stitch to top stitch that closed, and then we'll move on from there. All right, so here I am at my cover stitch, and I'm using my cover stitch to top stitch this all the way around. Hey, make sure when you get to the sleeve area right here, you make a pin right there, because that's kind of hard, that area right there. It wants to fold up, so I always make sure I pin right there really well, so it doesn't fold up on me. Now, make sure that you know exactly where your 3/4 inch is, because I won't be able to see my underside. So I need to make sure that I place it correctly so it will catch it. Every time I'm doing my cover stitch, I always like to put my fingers right where my edge is, so I can feel it and I can kind of guide it. Even on my sewing machine, if I'm doing a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine and I have the front face up, I want to have my fingers touching right here where I can feel where this seam is, right? This edge is. So that way I know if I'm going too far over. I can see the needle there. So I know that this is where I need it to be, okay? So I always kind of keep my finger right there so I can feel it as I'm going. And I go slowly so I can remove my pins and make sure that everything's right and keep going. Again, I like to feel. All right, so I'm gonna go all the way around, again, leaving a 1 to 2 inch casing opening where I can go ahead and fit my elastic. All right, so my encasing is ready, so you can see it right there. And I left a gap right here, my 2 inch gap. So I'm gonna grab my elastic. Now, for the best results on your elastic, you wanna measure around your shoulders and then do, like, I think it's a 2 or 3 inches shorter than your measurements, but you can also go with the measurement chart that's on the pattern. I'm going to use a pin, a clothespin, and I'm gonna feed that elastic through that 2 inch opening, and I'm gonna feed it all the way around. And after we fit it all the way around, we're gonna sew it together and close that gap that we left. So let me go ahead and feed that elastic through. Sometimes I have a hard time feeding the elastic through. I don't know why. It's not like it's hard, but I don't know. It's not my strong suit. I'm gonna go ahead and feed this through, and then we're gonna come back and finish our bodice up. All right, so once I brought my elastic all the way through, I went back with my sewing machine and I did a zigzag stitch and overlapped it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and feed it all the way through into my bodice. And then I'm gonna go back to my cover stitch and top stitch that part that I left open. Okay, that 2-inch allowance, I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch that closed. So after I do that, top stitching closed, I'm gonna put this bodice aside for a minute. Ooh, that's gonna be so cute. And we're gonna start working on our bottoms. And now I am making, like I said, I'm doing pockets for these bottoms. So if you're not doing pockets, then you can go on to the other video where it's got the pockets, the pants that have no pockets, or you can just keep watching this one and just skip this part right now where we're going to be working on our pockets. So to do our pockets, we're gonna grab our front piece. So you can see it's a front piece, it's got the side pocket. Let me grab my pockets. I put them over here. Hold on. All right, here's my pockets. Putting all my pattern pieces aside. I like to kind of pile them all up together. That way I know what they are. So I've got my pocket, and this is my pocket piece, and it's got, see how it's got that side seam right there, like a corner edge. We're gonna go ahead and grab one of our pants. I'm gonna show you on one of them, and then I'll do the other one. I'm gonna grab my pant. I'm gonna put it face up on my board, and I'm gonna grab that first pocket. I'm gonna put it right side down, right on top, right sides meeting together at that raw slanted edge, okay? And I'm going to pin, if I can find my pins, and I'm going to sew that pocket right there. I'm doing these steps for both my pant legs. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that right there together. All right, so once I've sewn that pocket on, I'm gonna flip it back, and I am going to steam right here at the pocket side. And you can go ahead and top stitch that pocket down if you want to, right there at the front. Give it like a nice top stitch seam. I'm gonna go ahead and do that on my cover stitch. You do a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, some kind of stretch stitch on there to top stitch that piece. All right, so once that is kind of top stitched, I'm going to open it up so I can see the outer edge of my pocket, that rounded outer edge. I'm gonna grab my pocket bag and I'm gonna put it right on top of my pocket, matching those raw edges, the rounded raw edges. And I'm going to pin around the outside edge, the raw edge, and I'm going to sew those pockets together around that outer edge. And I'm gonna do, again, all these steps I'm doing to both pant legs. I'm going all the way around. All right, once my pocket is done, I'm going to flip it back. As you can see, right here is my pocket side. And here's like the edge of my pocket right here. Side, and here's my front. If I turn it around, you'll see my pocket right back there. I'm turning it so it's facing me. Okay. Here's my pocket edge where my hand will go in. Here's my raw side where you can see a little bit of the side of the pocket. So I'm pinning that right there. And we're going to baste. So we can baste right here and then up here at the top as well where my pocket meets, right here at the edge. That way when you go to sew it together to the other pant leg or to the waist, you'll have it basted right here and right here so it doesn't fold down as you're doing it. You don't want it to fold down. Okay, so let's go ahead and baste those. And basting really is just a long straight stitch on your sewing machine. It's basically just holding the fabric together. That's all it's doing, and then we'll remove it afterwards. All right, once those are basted on, we're gonna grab the back pant leg. Where did I put it? Here it is. And we're going to put them right sides together. So the side right here, the outside edge, they're gonna meet together, and we're gonna go down the side seam all the way down, pinning and sewing, making sure, like you did right there, you basted that pocket together. So when you go to sew those sides together, you don't want that pocket to come over and you don't catch it, or you catch it the wrong way. We're going all the way down on that outer seam, and then we're going to do the same on the inseam right here. Don't worry about that crotch seam yet, because we're going to sew that when we sew both pant legs together. Right now we're just creating the pant leg. So we're going to sew the outer and the inseam. The seam on the out and the seam on the inside. So we're going to go all the way down the pant leg. Now, if you're not doing pockets, this is the part where you would come in again. So you would just skip that whole section where we did pockets, but you would come in here and you would make sure that you're grabbing a front leg and a back leg, because the thing is, when you're not doing pockets, the front and the back leg look very similar. The only thing that's going to be different is the rise of the crotch. The back of the leg goes higher on the rise. I'm going to show you here. And let me turn it around. See, the back goes higher up. So that's how you're going to know. That's going to be the difference between your front and back. So if you're not doing pockets, that's how you know which one's your front and which one's your back. So you want one of each. They cannot match in the rise. If they match in the rise, you're grabbing either two front or two back. Switch them out. So I'm going to go ahead and sew those side seam and inseam on both pant legs. All right, so once we've sewn those sides together on both pants, we're going to grab one pant leg and we're going to turn it right side out. Remove those pins down the side. You don't want them on there. We're going to turn them right side out, just one pant leg. And we're going to leave the other pant leg inside out. Right here, fell on the ground. And we're going to feed one leg inside the other. Okay, and then we're going to match those raw edges around the crotch right sides together. So we're going to match right here at the crotch seam, and we're going up one side, matching those raw edges together. I keep thinking of that movie Monsters Inc. You and me and you, both of us together. So that's why I keep singing that when I say that together. I keep singing that. Okay, and then the other side as well. So we're going all the way around the side as well. So that when you pick it up and you look at it, it's right there. My pocket's kind of in the way. So just make sure that you don't sew your pocket in. But we're going to sew, tuck that pocket out of the way. We're going to sew all the way around that crotch seam to put the pant legs together. All right, so now I'm going to untuck my pants and I can go ahead and hem. Again, your hem is at a 1/2 inch allowance on your bottom, so you can go ahead and hem those at a 1/2 inch allowance, folding them down and hemming. We're going to move on to attach our bodice and our pants together. Now, if you are not doing the romper version, you can hop on over to the other video, and that's where I show the next few steps for the pants and the waistband. But right now I am doing the romper version. So this is how we do the romper. So here's my pant and here's my bodice. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the 1/2 of my bodice. So I'm going to meet those two raw edges, those two side seams, and I'm going to the front, then I'm going to the back. Okay, and then what I can do is I can either fit my bodice through my pants or fit my pants through my bodice. Since my pants is right side out, I'm going to fit my bodice into my pants. What you're trying to do is just get to have them right sides together. So I'm going to match that 1/2 point that I marked on my bodice just now. I did a little notch, you can barely see it. And I'm gonna match that with my front seam of my pant. And then my side seams together. And then my other side seam together and my back seam and my back notch together. So we're gonna sew with your preferred stretch stitch all the way around, sew the pants to the bodice first. So I'm just gonna go ahead and serge that together, my pants to my bodice first. When you're doing that, remember that you did, that's the side. Remember that you did your, what do you call it? You did your pocket at the top. Don't let the pocket at the top come down on you as you're trying to sew them together. That's why we basted that together. So that way I am putting my seams on my pocket, and that's why it's not coming together. That's my pocket. You don't want to match the pocket seam with the bodice seam. You want to match those side seams with the bodice seams. So when you're sewing where the pocket is up top and where you basted, make sure that your pocket is straight up so it gets cut right there as you're sewing around. It's going to sew all the way around, attach the bodice and the bottoms together. The bodice and our top are put together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the casing for the elastic for our waistband. So we're going to go from the top, from where we just sewed, we're going to go down an inch and we're going to sew, ooh, you can't even see that. We're going to go down an inch and we're going to sew all the way around 1 inch seam allowance. We're going to give ourselves a 1 inch seam allowance. Now you can do this with a cover stitch. You can do it with a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Any one of those stretch stitches will help, will work. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, once we're done sewing that, we're going to steam that seam up towards the bodice all the way around. And we're going to pin, and we're going to go all the way around the bodice, making a casing. So either you're going to top stitch or zigzag stitch up here to catch that seam all the way around the front, all the way around the whole thing to create a casing where we're going to put our elastic. Leaving also another 2 inch gap right here where you can fit the elastic just like we did with the bodice. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that. I'm going to use my cover stitch, but you can use cover stitch if you have, or if you don't, a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Any kind of stretch stitch that you use on your sewing machine would work. And I'm using the same technique I used for the bodice, where I'm going to feel with my fingers and go all the way around because I'm coming from the front of the bodice. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll insert the elastic and be basically done. So that casing is created, leaving that gap right there where I'm going to fit my elastic through. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my elastic. Once again, we're doing the same thing. We're going to grab that elastic and feed it right through that gap, go all the way around, and then we'll come back to sew the elastic together. We'll sew the elastic together with a zigzag stitch overlapping, and then we'll sew that gap right there closed, and we'll be done with our romper. Are you excited? I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this romper for a while now, so I'm really excited about it. So let's finish it up. I went back and sewed my elastic together, zigzag stitched it together. Then I went back and sewed all my pieces, my little empty air, my gap that I left, top stitched that on, and my romper is finished. I can't wait to try this on, and I am super excited about it because it's super cute, perfect for spring and then summer. I can't wait. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything that I did. If you have questions that you don't see answered in this video, go check out our other video where all the other options are. I'm telling you, this pattern is chock full of beautiful, beautiful options. I hope you have a great day. Come join us on Facebook or Instagram so you can see what people are making and you can be inspired, and you can also inspire us with your makes. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.